And we're back. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday, October 11th. Do you feel the Halloween in the air? Do you feel it? Maybe I feel it because I went to a Halloween pumpkin patch yesterday with the family. And I got to tell you, there's something about this Halloween, maybe because we had last year off, I just feel like it's really fun and silly, and I'm really embracing it. I'm just loving it. Although I think it might have been like 89 degrees yesterday. I mean, it was really, as much as you want to get into like the pumpkin spice latte and the spooky music. And there's something about Southern California Halloweens that are just like, man, like even when you're in the corn maze, like you go there for the shade. You're like, yeah, let's go get lost in a corn maze for 40 minutes. Corn mazes are really fun. I notice this with families. It's very exciting. The first 10 minutes, you're giggling. People are like, oh, it's this way, it's that way. And they give you these little cards, and you fill out. It's like a puzzle. And at each point in the corn maze, you answer a question. Then you get a chance to win $100 if you answer all 12 questions. About 30 minutes in, you're seeing, the kids aren't really giggling and you're seeing the kids starting to cry. The moms are getting frustrated. The dads are silently carrying, backpacks in the back of the line and you start to see the same people over and over, and it's like frustrating. And then you start to see couples argue a little bit, like, let me lead. And then a couple minutes later, you see someone else. Okay, it's my turn to lead because they're getting frustrated. You're seeing those puzzle cards ripped up into shreds on the ground. It got to the point where I was like, you know what? This isn't really that fun anymore. Once it gets to that point where it's not fun anymore, that's when it gets like, I could see people hyperventilating in a corn maze where they're just like really freaked out, When I say people, I mean myself. Like if it was nighttime, like if the sun started to go down, or if you had something coming up, like if you had like a business that you had to do and you're like, hey, Larry, I'll call you back in a little bit. I'm about to go into this corn maze. Yeah, then we'll do the Zoom call. And then as time goes by, you're like, damn it, I gotta make that Zoom call at 4 p.m. I mean, I guess you could technically do a Zoom call from a corn maze. It would be really weird. There's people, you know what I mean, like baby strollers and families, and you're sitting there doing a Zoom call. Yeah, I say we buy low and sell high. Never mind me, I do business in a corn maze. That's how I roll. But anywho, we have a great podcast ahead. I really want you guys to what do I really want you to do? Let's think about this. I want you to, if you could, let's start with the easy stuff. Review it on iTunes. If you have an iPhone, it's easy. If you're on YouTube, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. This is for the people listening. If you want to donate and help the cause, because right now we don't have a sponsor, so even if everyone just sent $1, that would help tremendously. DarrenCarter.com. I'm on PayPal, Cash App. It's $ Darren Carter Comic, and Venmo at Darren Carter Comic on Venmo, at Darren Carter Comic on Venmo. I'm also on CAMEO. I'm available for celebrity shout-outs. That's right. I'll give you a shout-out, a birthday wish, happy anniversary. There's a garbage truck outside the window. Do you hear that? I wonder if that picks up. Who cares? I had a dream one time, and in the middle of my dream, it was making that noise, and I was like, wow, they're censoring my comedy. I was thinking the guy is censoring his words. That's what it was. I was like, every time the garbage man talks, beep, 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 they're censoring his words, his language. Pretty funny joke for your sleep. Anyhow, let's get into it, guys. Pocket Party Podcast. We got Mike Black, one of my favorite guests, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's start that party in your ear holes.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. I know that he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, listen to our Pocket Party. Pocket Party.
Oh yeah, baby. So let's start that party in your ear holes.
All right. This is Matthew McConaughey, and you are locked in to the Pocket Party Podcast. You feel that warm sensation in your pocket? That's a party. Here's my buddy Darren Carter. Yeah.
In October. Why am I saying the month? We all know it's October. That was ridiculous. All right. Yeah, here we go. Oh, my goodness.
Hello?
Is this the one and only Mike Black?
Yes, it is.
As I was waiting for you to answer the phone, I'm like, I didn't know what to say. So I was just like, and we're back. That's right. We're calling Mike Black, and it's October. Which they already know what month it is. I don't know why I insist on filling it with just BS.
Mike Black is back in October.
Mike Black is back in October. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a birthday.
Happy birthday. Oh my gosh. When's your birthday? October
the 1st.
October the 1st. Oh my gosh. Well, happy birthday, buddy.
And Halloween is my favorite thing. I don't know if I told you this when I was a kid. Super, super into the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
You know, Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein, those guys. And my first day of kindergarten, I thought, well, this is a special occasion. I should probably wear my Dracula cape.
Yeah.
And my parents tried to convince me not to. They were like, oh, son, that's not really the kind of thing you wear. And I was like, it's the first day I want people to get to know me right off the bat. So I'm wearing it. And they're like, oh, okay. And I was soundly beaten by other children very quickly.
You wore a Dracula cape on the first day of school?
Yeah, I thought they're going to think this is so cool. And I'm sure a few kids did. But more kids were mortified by it. And they were like, nope. And in fact, what was funny is there were 3, I remember the bullies specifically, that came over to do it. Because one of them was like a blonde kid with curly hair, and he had that real pointy, sort of aggressive face.
Yeah.
Already, like you knew he was going to be a bully before he did anything.
Yeah.
And he was like, he said something like nice cape or whatever, and I was like, thank you. And then he looked at his 2 friends, and he said, he's also wearing a purple shirt. I was wearing like a purple Speed Racer shirt. There was a hand-me-down from my brothers.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know who Speed Racer was, didn't care or anything. He goes, he's wearing a purple shirt. And then he looks at the 2 other guys like they're idiots and goes, get him. And they
get him.
Oh, okay.
No.
You know? So they threw me into, do you remember in like kindergarten or daycare? I don't know where you went when you were a kid. Sometimes
I went to a private Ivy League preschool.
Okay, well, they may not have had this there then. I don't know.
I'm just kidding, of course.
But,
I grew up in Fresno in foster care, dude. It's like,
okay, well, what they had at this playground was a gigantic tractor tire. And that was just like a thing for kids to play in. It was like...
I totally remember that.
Okay. Well,
especially in Fresno, dude. I still play with tractor tires. I mean, who are we kidding here? If anyone's been to my YouTube channel, they know it never gets tired. Hey-o.
Oh, well, it got tired for me because they threw me inside it and then just beat me up and left me there. And,
that's sad. They put the cape over your face and you're like, who's doing this to me?
I think they took the cape. They just took it, and I don't know what they did with it, but it was gone after that. And this other kid came out who ended up becoming like my best friend at school. This kid Colin, who was like a tiny Tony Randall. You remember that guy from The Odd Couple?
Yeah, The Odd Couple, the one that was very neat, very
like Niles from Frasier.
Yeah.
And he saw me like lying in the middle of the tractor tire and was like, "Oh, I'll go alert the authorities." And, went off and told someone I was hurt. Yeah,
because those tractor tires are not easy to get out of, especially at that age. I would imagine.
No, they had to have one of the adults come get me. And oh man, it was a rough first day of interacting with other kids.
Dang, I would imagine because it's it's not like you were going to school already, and then it's the first day, and maybe those kids already knew each other, huh, from like preschool or the neighborhood or something else. The bully and his henchmen.
Yeah, I don't know how they had already set up a gang.
Did you guys ever become friends after that, or was it?
I don't think I even remember seeing those guys again.
They might have been first graders, to be honest with you. Now that I think back,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they might not even been in the same grade.
That'd be hilarious if they just stopped by a preschool to beat some kid up.
Yeah, exactly. They're sixth graders. No. I remember I have two memories of that come to mind when you said that story. I remember being in kindergarten, and for some reason, in our kindergarten class, there was a bathroom in the classroom. Like you could go to the back of the classroom, and that's where the bathroom was. And I remember being in the bathroom in kindergarten, and I remember sitting on the toilet. And I remember this kid was like looking underneath. He's like, "What are you doing in there?" And I was like, "Get away from me! Don't stop looking!" And he kept sticking his head underneath the stall, and just reflectively, I stuck my foot out and kicked him in the face. Yeah, it was just like, you know what I mean? It's so weird.
Yeah,
like, I was just, you're sitting on the toilet at that age, and it's like, "What do you look? Get out of here!" And I kicked him right in the face, and I was wearing cowboy boots.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was like
you were like Steven Seagal to this.
exactly. You don't do that when I'm doing a number two. Yeah.
There were a lot of like misunderstandings or overreactions to things like that when you're a little kid because you don't know all the rules yet and everything.
Right.
Like, I remember this wasn't even at school, but this was at like the playground near my house. I may have told you about this, but there was a big wooden tower. That was back when that was totally okay for kids to play on. But it was like there was one tower made out of metal completely, and another one made out of like lumber and screws and stuff like that.
And that was back when the sun would just beat down and make it super hot, like metal. Like I think that's one of the reasons they don't do that anymore. You know?
Yeah, kids would like get a little air and jump on the slide and then just stick to it.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh no!"
Why did I wear shorts?
It'd just peel off the back of their legs. They're just like, "Oh god!"
Gosh. Then you'd have that one kid that knew to throw like sand on it, so you'd slide down faster.
We didn't have that kid. We all just got stuck there like idiots.
Gotta call the authorities, pry him off the slide again.
It was Colorado too, so the same thing would happen when it got real cold.
Oh my gosh.
You'd still stick to the slide, you know. But anyway, so there was a big wooden tower that was probably like around 35 feet tall. And just gravel at the bottom of it, you know. And I climbed to the top of it one day. And when I was up there, I looked around and I wanted some other kid to see what I'd done, you know. And there was just one other kid kind of minding his own business, playing in the gravel. And I go, "Hey." And he looks up at me and he goes, "Hello." And I go, you know, I'm like looking for props from this kid that I got up there. And so I go, "I bet you can't climb up here." And he thought that I was questioning his rights.
Oh, yeah.
And he like looked real indignant and he goes, "I can do anything I want." And I was like, "Oh, he doesn't get what I'm about." And so he starts climbing up, and about halfway up, he takes a bad step and goes like plummeting back down.
Oh no.
But he like hits a couple of things on the way down, and then there was just this thud when he hit the gravel. And he just lied there and he just went, eh, eh. And then he started like screaming. You know how kids scream, cry,
Yeah.
where they cry like real loud.
And part of
And
you
so
is
I
like,
just,
should I help him? Am I going to get in trouble? Like, there's all
yeah, I was more in that second group.
that. Yeah. He
And
made
so
me come up here. Then yeah.
I very gingerly climbed back down, and I was like, "You'll be okay." And then I went home.
He'll be okay. Yeah. Let me get out of here.
Yeah, and never saw that kid again. I don't know if he was okay or not.
I have another. Oh, he's going to be the next guest on my next podcast.
Yeah,
I was challenged by my rights, and I climbed up this wooden tower,
right.
and I saw this guy who had a Dracula cape on, who escaped from a tractor tire.
And the weird part is, I don't know why he thought I was questioning his rights. He was a little blonde white kid. I was like,
kid.
You can, whatever I can do, you're allowed to do. You know,
Exactly. That's hilarious. It's funny. I remember another story where I remember we went to a swap meet. Now in Fresno, there was a place called Sunnyside Drive-In. And at the Sunnyside Drive-In, it was a drive-in theater on the weekends at night, but during the day they had a swap meet. So you'd be at the swap meet, and I remember my parents were, looking at stuff, and I'd be like, "Hey, can I go to the playground?" And so they had this playground, and I remember there being sand and swing sets, and that's also where the men's restroom and the women's restroom was, and
right.
And for some reason, there was some kid. He drew a flower. I remember him drawing a flower in the sand. Like I could picture like the circle of the flower, and then each petal like going around, almost like a 4-leaf clover, but a flower.
Right.
And then he looks at me and he goes, "That's what your asshole looks like." And for
There's a poet.
yeah. And for some reason, I don't know if because I was just at that age where it freaked me out because he's like this bully and he just kind of said it like that, all creepy and I was
what a weird bully tactic.
Yeah, it was just. I remember just crying and like looking for my mom and like, and then she was just happened to be near the restroom, and so I ran into the women's restroom with her, and I was crying, and she was hugging me, and it was just a weird like memory to have. I don't know. It's so weird that even happened, and who knows what that kid was even. Maybe he was just saying something, but the way he said it was kind of. It was creepy. It was creepy. Yeah, I guess I didn't even know what the word creepy was at that age. I was probably like, I don't know, like 16 or something. But
you were 16?
No, I'm joking.
That would be hilarious.
I was like 16, and no, I was probably. I want to say I was probably like 4, 5, something like that. Like, yeah.
This is what your asshole is. I don't want a flower ass.
Yeah, this is what your butthole looks like, and then I know. Yeah.
Now, did you tell your mom what the kid had said to you and everything?
Yeah, but I think that just was like, stop crying and let's just get out. It's like,
you glossed over the whole butthole part.
Yeah, he said that's what my butthole. Yeah, he said butthole. I remember that's what your butthole looks like, and I was just like, yeah.
If you explain that entire story to your mom and she didn't laugh, good on her. That's a good parent.
I know. That was hey, I wanted to ask you about I just got to see Cry Macho yesterday and with Clint Eastwood, and it was one of those movies I didn't want to know anything about it going in. I didn't want to know anybody's opinion, any review. I didn't want to ask any friends if they've seen it. I didn't even want to hear anything, even at the movie theater. Like my buddy went with me, and some lady at the Coke station, she's like, "Yeah, I saw it yesterday," and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to hear anything," so I hurried up and scurried away from them. So I went in there. All I knew about it was going to be a Clint Eastwood movie. They were going to go to Mexico. It was like a Western, I thought, because of the way he was dressed. That's all I knew about it. And and so afterwards, I reached out to you and I said, "Hey, have you seen it?" And I was hoping you'd say yes. And apparently you did see it.
I did. Yeah, and I liked it. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan. I'll preface it with that. I wouldn't even rank it in my top 20 of movies that he's been in, or let alone directed and starred in or anything.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie, like, especially when you consider how old he is now, that he was able to put a movie together.
Yeah, I looked it up. He's,
You
I
know,
believe he's 91, 91.
yeah, and direct it and star in it and everything. He does a thing that I've never been a fan of, and partially it was because when I was younger, I was really, really into acting and did a lot of it, learned a lot about the craft. But he does a thing where he casts real people in pretty substantial parts
Yeah.
that have never acted before, and he just wants them to be natural. And it can come across as authentic, but a lot of times the camera just picks up on everything.
Yeah.
They just look nervous and weird,
Yeah.
and they're trying their best to do the dialogue,
Right.
but they've never acted before. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Like Gran Torino, he did a lot of that. Where
Yeah. See, no, it worked. Though. See, I was going to say that I really loved Gran Torino. I should probably watch it again because whenever clips pop up on YouTube on my algorithm or whatever, I'm like, oh, I watch it. And I'm like, this is a great movie. I love it. It reminds me of Fresno because there's like, I think there's like Hmongs or Laotians and just the ethnic makeup of the cast. I'm like, it reminds me of growing up in Central Cal. Same thing with The Mule. I love The Mule. I watched clips of The Mule today. And when I sat in that theater, and I was excited, by the way, let me start with the theater. I was excited to go to a movie theater. I hadn't been to a movie theater in I don't know how long. I have no idea. It was obviously pre-COVID.
So since like before the pandemic, probably.
Yeah, and so even before then, it might have been like 3 years, maybe 3 years. And who knows if it was even a good movie, because sometimes I would take my son to see like movies that he wanted to see, which I wasn't really into, like the one, I forget, Captain Underpants, stuff like that, or you know what I mean? Like there's those kind of movies that you got to kind of take them, and then you're just checked out. You're like, hey son, I'll be right back. I'm gonna use the restroom, or that kind of thing, But, so it felt great to, have a plan. Like, all right, tomorrow, meet me at 3. Then we'll go to the theater. It starts at 4. And so it was my first time using a kiosk to get the ticket. I'd never used a kiosk before. Somebody had
wow.
I know, dude. I'm really behind the times. That's why I wanted to yeah, I know.
It's not that new.
I know. So I had a gift card. My wife gave me. She's like, "Hey, we got a Christmas gift card one year. So it's for AMC Theater. So it was $25 gift card. And do you think it covered 2 movie tickets?
No,
not at
barely
all.
Covered one.
I know it was. The movie I want to say was $16.99. So, yeah, because we had $8.50 left over. So as far as my friend, you know what I mean? Like he paid it the rest. With
almost
his credit
enough
card.
for a popcorn.
Yeah, and then I got then we're getting 2 popcorns, 2 Cokes. I went with the regular Coke. I hadn't had a nice Coke in a long time. For some reason I don't really drink Coke, but like popcorn.
But if it's at a place where they have ice and all that stuff,
exactly. Dude, here's how backward. Oh, go ahead.
Now let me ask you this: since it's an AMC, did they have that big machine that has all the different flavors?
Yes, that big machine. Okay, here's another thing with that big machine. I always just drink bottled water or coffee. That's my main beverages. And
like a real chump.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's like a real chump, is what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I literally was like, how do I get ice out of this thing? Like I'm looking for the button to I thought you could push a button and ice. And my friend goes, no, you just push it all the way in and that lever will pull. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. I know I'm familiar with that, but I didn't, for some reason, it didn't dawn on me to do that. So I'm pushing the thing in, I'm getting all the ice in there. I go for the Coke. I think my friend went with like cherry Coke or some weird type of Coke.
You didn't experiment at all with the flavors?
No, I just said Coke and popcorn. I know. I put all that liquid butter on.
I was kidding before about you being a chump, but
I know I am a chump. I know. There's all that. I know. And in fact, I think I put too much liquid butter on. I was like, it was pretty wet.
Can I tell you what I do?
At
the AMC soda machine that has a million options.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of. They have the Minute Maid juices. Or juice flavors, I guess, like they're like Kool-Aids.
Yeah.
I do a tiny, tiny bit of diet lemonade, a tiny bit of diet grape-aid, and a diet Coke, and it cancels out that crappy aftertaste.
Interesting. So a little bit of diet. Let me see if I can repeat this back. Lemonade,
Uh-huh.
A little bit of Diet Grape. Never heard of it. Diet Grape Aid. And then what was the other one you mix in there?
And then just the rest of it is all Diet Coke.
Interesting. Wow.
So I have a Diet Coke that doesn't taste terrible.
Yeah, because that Diet Coke is like, yeah.
Any of those fruity flavors like Diet Cherry or any of those, they won't have any calories.
And by the way,
they'll make it taste better.
Yeah, they and then they had a paper straw. So I'm using the paper straw like a cardboard type toilet. It was like a toilet paper roll or like a paper towel roll. So
yeah,
I was like, dang it, so that kind of ruined it, to be honest with you, especially like 20 minutes in, you're like, this sucks.
The trick on those is I tell them, all right, if you guys are using these, I want 3 of them.
There you go.
I do. And I go, because it's going to disintegrate about 20 minutes in.
Yeah. It's, I went somewhere else and afterwards we got dinner and I got a water and the water gave me a regular old fashioned American paper straw. And I'm like, yes, I'm sorry, but yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so back to this machine. So we go in, I'm excited. We did pick, on the kiosk, we did choose our seats. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll be in F9. You'll be in F7 or whatever. And then, I do like that space in between, when you go see a movie with a buddy, he's like, well, what if some weird person sits in the middle? I'm like, no one's going to, we'll deal with it if it happens,
Yeah. Dave Matthews wrote a whole song about it.
Oh, did he really?
The space between. That space between.
That's funny. I remember I used to hear comedians say the no homo chair or something like that or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I forget who it was. Some comedian was like, yeah, how do you two guys get to the movie theater together in the first place? Did you you guys were in a car together side by side, but I don't know, there's something, but I do like to have that space though. I just like the space, but.
Well, Seinfeld put it best, I think, where he said, if we were watching a movie at home on my sofa, would you sit right next to me?
No. That's hilarious. It's true. So the movie. So we're watching. And by the way, we got there so early that I didn't even realize. I'm like, when are they going to start the previews? At least we watch commercial after commercial after commercial. But I got to be honest, that's a lot. I don't think I've seen that many commercials, and actually pretty much enjoyed them. Like, because usually you know what I mean. You usually skip over the commercials. Or maybe 1 or 2 will catch your eye, but. I'm finishing the popcorn almost before the preview started. And then the previews started, and some of them were okay. I don't remember any that stood out. They're just, it's
there was nothing that you were like, oh, Spider-Man 3, I can't wait, or
no, not really, because it's nothing that was really. I was entertained, but I wasn't like, oh, I must see that. I was just like,
like the next James Bond. You're not like, that
actually looked pretty good. That one actually looked pretty good. I think it's called Omega. I don't know. Is it like a watch commercial or something? But it's called, was it? I don't know. It was like James Bond, Omega. He did have that cool Omega watch. And some of the stuff.
Yeah, for that, and that goes all the way back in the James Bond series. He's always wearing an Omega.
Yeah, I could see that because I remember there was
because Q would add little gadgets to it, like a laser and stuff like that.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm not really. It's funny. I'm not even into a watch phase right now. I used to wear watches, and then I'm not into watches. I just I'm so used to just looking at the time on my phone that I don't even have a Fitbit. I had a Fitbit.
Now James Bond's signature drink, right?
Oh, don't tell me. I got it. It's a martini. Shaken, not stirred.
There you go.
Yes.
So you know some stuff.
I know some stuff. James Bond.
Now those trivia questions, they would have said that it was a Pepsi.
I know, all right? Yeah. The ones that I asked you that one show, and then they were wrong. I'm like, the internet's wrong.
James Bond's favorite drink. So, an ice cold Pepsi.
I know, and then. Yeah, and actually shaken, so it sprays everywhere.
Right, yeah.
So we get in the theater. It was cool. There weren't too many people in there. And the movie starts. So eventually the movie starts and it begins. And, I got to be honest, about 25 minutes in, I'm thinking, I don't like this movie. But I'm gonna hang in there. I'm not going to, check out. I'm not going to make an opinion. I'm not going to look at my friend, give him that look like this sucks. But I'm like, and I like Dwight Yoakam. I have his albums. I listen to him on Spotify. I've met him once. I was walking down Sunset. He was nice enough to take a photo with me. I like Dwight Yoakam a lot.
He's a real nice guy and very, very talented.
And forgive me for saying this if you're listening, Dwight, or Dwight fans, but I thought that particular, maybe it was the lines or I don't know what it was. It looked very stiff. It reminded me of people in acting class. And it was also a little bit of the script where he's spelling everything out, where he's like, now you know that my son is down there and he's being abused by people. Who's he being abused by? I just heard that he's being abused. So I'm going to give you a wallet and there's money in this wallet. And I want you to go down there. Now you owe me, Mike, and it was just, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Remember, you had that horse accident all those years ago.
Yes.
That you never forgave me for, and we haven't talked since then. But I want you to do me this favor.
Yeah.
It was all very expositional. It was like he was laying the groundwork for the whole story.
Yes.
And, I think he did his best with some rough dialogue. But,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. He was good, but it was
he can be a very good actor. Like, I don't know if you remember or ever saw Sling Blade.
I did. Yeah.
Where he was the villain of the movie, and he was tremendous in that. So, I think he did his best with a very difficult part. And also, he's kind of supposed to be like sort of a bad guy himself.
Right.
You're not sure whether you should trust him or not,
Yeah, exactly. So there was that, and then Clint, I love him. He seemed very real and authentic. And so that's what I'm saying. I wanted to really like it. I'm like, okay, cool. He gets a wallet.
One thing I will say definitely for certain about Clint Eastwood is he is very, very aware of what he puts on screen himself. Like, he knows how to use Clint Eastwood better than anyone else does.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that part, I don't think a lot of other people could have pulled off. And
by the way, can I tell you, I was looking at, I looked up Wikipedia, IMDb, did a little research. That movie was actually written in 1975 as I believe, a novel. And then the guy wrote it then it got it did popular. It got sold as a screenplay. I think the author passed away in 2000, but it was supposed to be a movie. Get this, they were going to make this movie 10 years ago. And
wow.
Do you know who was going to star in it instead of Clint Eastwood? It was going to be, you want to guess or should I just tell you?
Donald Sutherland.
No, I didn't.
Who?
Wow, the way you said who, it made me nervous. You sounded so like, who? I'm like you're a cop or something. Who? Tell me, because I almost said Sylvester Stallone, but it wasn't. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold was going to play that part, and they said that he went through that scandal. Remember, with his maid and the child out of wedlock, and so that's why he didn't. They ended up not using, and apparently they'd even. I don't know if it was
Arnold's scandal doesn't even count anymore compared to like all the other stuff that's happened in the world.
I know exactly.
Like,
I know. In fact, now he's getting along. It looks like fine with his son. His son kind of looks like him. He's a bodybuilder also. He's, I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, he puts stuff on Instagram that's all supportive and nice. So who knows?
Yeah. So that was interesting. That was but yeah. So that would have been an interesting take too. But I'll be back and all that stuff. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did a movie about like this like cop squad fought the cartels. That was actually very similar, but it was a lot more action about him like going across the border to try and help someone. And that was I can't recall the name of it, but that was only a few years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, so the movie's starting out, and it starts out with a beautiful song. I don't know who it was. I thought it was Merle Haggard, but I don't think it was. So it starts out with a great song, and like I said, the beginning it's good, but you're like, is what's going to happen? And then finally, I believe it takes place in 1979. So that was really cool to see a lot of the old cars and that type of thing as he's crossing the border. Remember the college kids? The 3 girls are going to go on spring break, and then the Border Patrol agent is kind of flirting with them, like, all right, go have fun. And then Clint rolls up, and you're wondering what's going to happen. And then he lets him in. And, he ends up at that big mansion, and with the lady, she's trying to seduce him. That was all. I was a little lost on that. I didn't know what was.
Yeah, just kind of trying to mess with him or seduce him, and
Yeah, and then when it came to the son, I I didn't really like the guy. I didn't really like the teenage son. He wasn't really that likable. It wasn't like this cute little, like Webster or Arnold from, you know what I mean? Like this kid, this little child, or little Ricky Schroeder, like this little, kid that you're pulling for. Like it was.
I think that's the idea, that you're supposed to get to know him as the film goes on, because they didn't want him to be, if he was like super cute.
Yeah, then you'd like him right away or something.
I think he wanted you to be in the same position that he's in. It's like, I don't even know if I like this kid, or if it's worth
because back
all
to that
the
writing,
trouble.
back to the writing. Remember, his mother was like, "He's a bad boy. He steals cars. He does gambling. He does cockfights. My son.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know, just the way it was, But
and I think what's cool about that though is that he definitely does all that stuff, but it very quickly gets into why he's doing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, he doesn't really have much of a choice,
Right.
And both of you find out pretty quickly that both of his parents suck.
I know. Yes, he did become a little likable. You're right, a little, but it wasn't. I don't know. Like when I watch Cobra Kai with my son, like there's kids that were bad and then they become likable, or you like them, or I don't know. I felt like some of those kids I would have rather see in this movie than that particular kid. Like it was just like,
It'd be great if he went across the border to rescue the entire cast of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, exactly.
And to fit them all into that car.
I know. Yeah, and that's another problem.
Some of you are going to have to sit on each other's laps.
Exactly. I was going to say, how as a stand-up comic, like sometimes you feel like you're having like, like sort of a bad show. It's not terrible, but it's because in our mind we've done so many shows that you're comparing it to previous shows.
Sure.
You're competing with ghosts of the past. So as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, I really want to enjoy it. And I am enjoying it, but it's like, when you're watching great episodes of Cobra Kai or Breaking Bad or just these incredible episodes and entertainment, it's not quite, even like The Mule or, Gran Torino, I'm kind of, I'm enjoying it.
I think you have to, you kind of have to calibrate for what you're about to watch. Like with Gran Torino, I was like, this is not going to be Dirty Harry. It's not going to be Unforgiven. He's older now. He's working with probably a tenth of the budget for this time period. So it's not going to be this big bombastic sort of movie. It's going to be something more intimate and much more in the spirit of an independent film. But you still, it's hard not to compare it to, especially like when you think of like rescue stories.
Yeah.
Of like rescuing a kid. Almost all of them are like big budget action movies.
Yeah.
Like it's hard not to think of something like Liam Neeson's Taken, or something like that has like big, cool action sequences and stuff.
Yeah, because there wasn't a lot of action, which I didn't mind. I don't mind slow moving because I did love the scenery, and I did like that little town they went to in Mexico, and I like all the old cars. It kind of reminded me of the farm that I was staying at, near Fresno. Like a lot of but although those cars seemed to work in the movie, they turn the key and it works. Like I remember, I remember when the cops stopped them and they started like I thought maybe they are going to find some drugs or something, but they didn't.
Right. Well, and another thing that bothers me, it happens a lot in movies like this that are kind of like PG rated sort of adventure stories, is when the danger of the film just doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
Like you don't actually fear no one in that group is going to blow the kid's head off or kill Clint Eastwood or whatever. But like part of me thinks back in a good way to like El Torino or Gran Torino and goes, well, he did die at the end of that, so maybe he is in danger.
Yeah.
But something about this movie and the way the pacing and the dialogue between people, it was like, this is all going to work out.
See, I don't think I even knew what it was rated, so that didn't even cross my mind. But I just kept thinking like like, oh, come on, he's got to have a gun somewhere or something. There's got to be some kind of.
Yeah, he's an old cowboy. They keep saying over and over, he's an old cowboy and all this stuff.
I know.
And he knows all the tricks and everything. It's like, that dude's got to be packing to go to Mexico.
And it's, and like I said, he is 91. And so when I saw him on the horse, I like seeing him on the horse, but then I kept thinking this isn't real. This is not real. I don't think he's really on a horse, especially when they were zooming in and they show him going a little faster. I'm like, this is fake.
Well, yeah, when he's doing like all sorts of fancy rodeo tricks on the horse, I was like, come on.
You know what I mean? I think
calm down.
Yeah, when they pulled out, do you think he was really on the horse because they did show a full shot of him on a horse?
I mean, I think he can still ride a horse, definitely.
But 91, people get really hurt if they fall like in a bathtub or something. So I don't know.
He's been riding a horse since Gunsmoke.
Okay, so you're right.
Since his early 20s, he's been doing it on film. Who knows how much longer before that? But in fact, he has a great story about that. He is famous for being a very soft-spoken director, but he was working with some actor, and the guy was kind of annoyed because he would sort of whisper "cut," and so the guy didn't know when the scene was over, and he goes. And he finally went and had lunch with him, and he was like, I noticed you say cut very quietly. And he goes, oh, that goes back to Gunsmoke. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, I just hated we would have all these guest directors come on and, it was a show of the week sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we're all cowboys and stuff. And a lot of them had never worked on a Western before. And they would yell, cut! And it would spook the horses. And all the actors would go running off in different directions. He goes, it'd take us like a half hour to get the horses to calm down and come back. And he goes, so it's been a habit since then. So, yeah, I think he still knows how to ride and everything. But there was probably another guy doing the like real fancy tricks and stuff for sure. But also, there comes a point, I remember Bobcat Goldthwait talking about this, where Lucy in the 50s was really funny because it's a young, pretty lady doing slapstick comedy.
Ricky! Yeah.
Yeah. But then she did the Lucy show where she's in her late 70s and also doing slapstick.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's not hilarious. That's concerning. You're watching it going, she's going to break her hip. Old people don't heal well. Stop it.
I know. And then people sometimes it's almost like they wished something bad would happen to like a certain type of comedian, Like I remember some of the haters that used to hate on Dane Cook, when, back in the day, they were like, wait till he gets old. This ain't going to work. But I'm thinking he's going to grow into whatever he's going to grow into. Like, it's not like he's still going to wear tank tops and a backward baseball cap and he's going to do whatever, so.
Or maybe he will, and that'll be hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you never know. I mean, yeah, because there's something funny about seeing an older comedian like.
Yeah. I mean, say what you will, Weird Al has not changed all that much.
Right. Yeah.
He is still Weird Al. Paul Rubens is still Pee Wee Herman when he wants to be.
Yeah. And yeah. And then for anyone that's grown up watching that stuff, it's amazing to see him drop back into the it's like, yeah.
I saw him like 5 years ago and the entire audience was spellbound by that dude. Wow. It was like, and they did the whole production where it was like the whole Pee Wee's Playhouse and everything. And he just crushed it. And so some guys don't, if they have a thing that works for them, it just works for them whenever they decide to turn it on,
Absolutely. So, so when I saw him on that horse, Clint Eastwood on the horse, I was like, but I got to say, so in closing, as far as this goes, this topic, Cry Macho, I enjoyed the scenery. I enjoyed the music. And if it's on television, I would, I'd leave it on in the background and enjoy that. But I don't know. I would not. I don't know. I wouldn't.
It would be a good movie to go to sleep to.
Yes, exactly. It's relaxing. It's cool. Like it made me want to go to a Mexican restaurant afterwards.
Where did you go?
I went to Don Cuccos in Burbank, Toluca Lake, right there on Riverside. And
I cannot say enough nice things about Don Cuccos. I've been there a number of times.
Oh wow!
And I like to get the fajitas there.
Oh man, I usually do get that, but yesterday I got the Chipotle burrito, which was delicious, with a side salad and a plate of nachos that we shared.
Oh yeah, you and your buddy.
Yep.
At first, I thought you meant like the staff of Don Cucco.
Exactly.
Let's all share a plate of nachos. They're like, okay, I guess.
They're like, we've all washed our hands a million times, and let's dig in.
That's kind of all we eat, so we're sick of it. But okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like going there or Bob's Big Boy. Those are two of my favorite Burbank places.
I love Bob's Big Boy. I tried. A friend invited me to up the street Patty's, and it just, I don't know. There's like less places to sit, and I don't know. It's good as well, but I prefer Bob's. It's just more spacious. I like the whole '50s diner vibe. I just like it.
For me, as like a big fat guy, I have to have places to sit as options. So like a place like if they don't have a lot of places to sit, it's like, well, then I can't. I'm not gonna hang out here.
Yeah, like I went there with the buddy, and we sat outside, and it was funny because the seating kind of circled around and wrapped around the building, and they had us way in the back, like you were barely part of the restaurant. And I was like, man, this is like. And the guy was like, he's like, yeah, I guess this is like the version of back of the bus, because you were barely barely a part of Patty's. You were like, wow, like. Yeah.
I wouldn't like that at all.
Yeah, I like the whole restaurant experience. Now you're just in the back with flies, and like I didn't like it, dude. I didn't.
Yeah, you don't want to watch them like throwing things in the dumpster while you're trying to eat.
Yeah, I know. And then, I like being inside the like Bob's Big Boy. But yeah, that Don Cuccos was great. And parking's a little. You gotta park kind of far away or get lucky. But we found parking for free. And by the way, when I hopped out, I told my friend, I go, let me go see if there's even if there's a wait list or what it is before we search for parking. And then they're like, yeah, we have two tables open now. And then this guy was I go, we're just looking for parking. And there was a guy sitting kind of bellied up to the bar with like a to-go container. And he's like, hey, partner, I'm leaving in a spell, and you can follow me to my car. And I'm like, okay, thanks, buddy. But we're like, nah, that's good. I don't know what, is that
why?
I know. Is he going to keep drinking for another 15 minutes? I'm like, nah, we'll just find our own luck. But so we went out there, and it was. I love that place. I like a good, nice, dark Mexican restaurant where especially in the heat of the day when it's like over 100 and you're in there and it's just so cool. And I like that energy, that vibe. I love it. It's something I've always loved.
Where is the first place you remember having Mexican food?
Probably there was a restaurant growing up. We used to go on Saturdays. It was called Javier's. We used to go to Javier's, and then there was another one called Castillo's. But I think it would probably be Javier's. So it's probably anchored to that memory of going there on Saturdays.
And do you remember what you had?
I remember I would probably get some sort of combination plate, but I do remember at some point I got a chili relleno, but I don't even really like it now. It wasn't.
I don't either.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It was just like, oh, okay, cool. But I just remember the refried beans. I always loved the refried beans, and I always loved the tacos. But as an adult, I usually go I go pretty simple though: tacos, burritos, quesadillas, sometimes nachos. That kind of. Even my friend got the what's it called? I don't know. Is it called pastor? Is that the shredded pork? Or maybe it's carnitas. I think it's carnitas.
Carnitas, yeah.
Yeah, and I got the steak burrito, and I got to be honest, the steak was really delicious. It was cubed and just delicious. And then
the steak is very good there.
It's so good. He gave me a little bit of the shredded pork. It wasn't as good. It was okay. I go, this is way better.
Yeah, the steak is the carne asada style.
Oh my gosh, it was good. Where was the first place that you went? Do you remember?
Probably my mom.
Yeah.
Your mom. Yeah.
By the way, if you're new to this show, he's half Mexican.
Yeah, so that was the first Mexican restaurant that I
Yeah.
went to. Not a fan of the salsa there, and the
Yeah.
service not the best.
And then I had to go to my room afterwards.
Yeah,
You had to wash the dishes.
right. Clean up my room. No. She's an excellent cook, and but the first thing that I was like, oh, what I'm getting is different from what other kids are getting
Yeah.
in suburban Colorado, is she would make her own mole sauce, which is a sauce primarily used for chicken.
Mm.
And there are two different kinds. There's red mole sauce and there's black mole sauce. And both of them are very, very good. They just have different bases. The red sauce has a peanut butter base, and the black sauce has a chocolate base.
Whoa.
And I know that sounds weird for chicken,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. Neither of them taste like those things. They taste like a very cool seasoning, savory sort of sauce.
So is that pretty much
brings out the flavor of chicken?
Is that pretty much everywhere? So if I got like a mole sauce that's red, it would have that peanut butter like base. Because that sounds delicious. I want to try that.
Most likely it would if they're doing it right. Now there are places that do like use something else for the base because some places don't like that consistency. But a good thicker sort of mole sauce by someone that knows what they're doing is amazing. And I haven't checked if Don Cucos does that because I'm kind of spoiled by my mom, so I don't really look for it at other places.
Yeah.
But I would think if they did, they probably would do a pretty good one. You know.
Yeah, it was great. I almost made the mistake of eating too much. You know, when they give you the delicious chips as you're waiting for your food, of eating too many chips. Like I was eating my chips,
yeah.
And they go, "Would you like more?" And I said, "No, thank you." But my body's like, "Sure." And then I'm like, "Oh man!" So when they bring it out, you're like, "Okay, they're here and they're hot. Let's keep eating." And then,
well, me and my buddy makes the mistake of we get like the chips and salsa there that they give everyone, but we both are big fans of their guacamole.
Mm.
And so we'll get the guacamole also, which comes with more chips. And so by the time the actual food gets there, we've eaten about half a bag of corn chips,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And but luckily their food is so good that you power through it, you know?
So good.
But I would say, yeah, if you guys are in the area and you go to Don Cucos, I cannot recommend enough the carne asada fajitas, because it's the steak that Darren was talking about, but as fajitas. I like to have them chop it up a little bit more, because every place that I've ever been to that does fajitas, they do these big long strips of steak.
Mm-hmm.
And you run into that same thing that you run into with pizza when like all the topping comes off all at once.
Yeah.
When there's a big long strip of steak in there and you bite into it and pull back, it'll pull out everything inside the fajita, you know, all over the place. So I tell them, just please cut it up a little bit extra, you know. But they're really, really good there.
I know what I was going to ask you. So I was talking about comparing, in my mind, I'm to Gran Torino, to the Mule. So Dirty Harry, first of all, let me start with, I've never seen Unforgiven, so I have to see it, it sounds like, because it sounds,
oh man,
that sounds like an incredible movie.
Now I would draw a picture of a flower
in the sand
and say, that's your face. You're a butthole.
Yeah. You've never seen Unforgiven. Yeah. I know. Imagine
now
if your first,
call that bully. What if you have him do an artist rendering of your face?
Yeah. Imagine your first Clint Eastwood movie is Cry Macho. You know?
Oh God, yeah.
You're like, this is what they're talking about?
Well, in a way, everything else is going to be an improvement from that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You're like, this guy keeps
really good.
I know, this guy's amazing. Like, yeah. So I'm gonna watch Unforgiven. So that's a Western. I believe it's a Western.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yes.
Unforgiven is my favorite Western.
Are there lines from Unforgiven that I should know? Like, is it going to be one of those where I'm like, oh, that's where he says that famous line, you know?
I think it's more famous among film enthusiasts. It's not like "Go ahead, make my day" or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the entire movie has fantastic lines, and there is a line in there. This doesn't spoil anything, but when you think of who Clint Eastwood is and what he represents in cinema and what he kind of became sort of an icon for, he has a line in there where he says, "It's a hell of a thing killing a man. You take away everything he's got and everything he's ever gonna have."
Wow.
And to have him saying that, like this guy who's like the epitome of like violence in cinema, saying this really, when you boil it down, a very peaceful, pacifist sort of message of that when you kill someone, you suffer as well by having done it. It's a really great, intelligent movie, but it's also a damn good Western story.
Yeah.
And the cast he put together for it, Richard Harris, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, it's stellar. And this was before he got into like casting authentic people. Everyone in it is an actor, and they're doing their best, you know. And he does all the music himself for it, and it really works, you know.
Oh, Clint does? Clint does the music?
Yeah.
That's good. Because I think I'd read that he'd helped on the music for Cry Macho, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And it won, I think it swept the Academy Awards.
By the way, I want to say with Cry Macho, there are some really good lines. Like you know, I was just looking up some quotes, and I'm like, you know, these are good. Like simple stuff, like when he's telling the kid to drive, look where you're going and go where you're looking. And it just sounded like something like your old dad would say, or your grandpa or something.
Yeah.
I like
something you tell a Lyft driver.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to start look where you're going and go where you're looking. What about this one? It's like, especially at his age, it was nice to hear him say this line. He goes, it's like anything else in life. You think you got all the answers, then you realize as you get old that you don't have any of them. By the time you figure it out, it's too late.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. Oh, how about this when he walks in the office and Dwight Yoakam goes,
I like that your impression of him sounds like he just ate a lot of magic mushrooms before he started telling you what he's telling you.
You're late. For what? Okay, that was a cool. For what? And then maybe I do a terrible Clint Eastwood.
Wait, was that the whole quote?
Yeah, that was the whole quote. That was a waste. That was a stupid quote. But I do remember him saying that. You're late, and he goes, for what? You know, like, oh, how about this one? You don't lock your doors? Ain't got nothing worth stealing.
Now he sounds like Wolverine.
Yeah. Okay, let me back up.
Who was based on Clint Eastwood, I think.
I got to remember. He's 91. Okay. You don't lock your doors? Ain't got nothing worth stealing.
I don't know.
Sounds like Winnie the Pooh or something.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was, but
right.
I wouldn't steal from him either. Get out of my house.
You look awful. Well, you've looked.
You sounded more like Harry Carey. Remember it?
Oh, yeah, Chicago.
I ain't got nothing worth stealing.
Yeah. You look awful. Well, you've looked horrible longer, so I guess you win. No, wait, I got the wrong actor.
What the hell accent was that?
Wait.
I like that it gets worse every time you do it.
You look awful. Well, you've looked horrible. Well, Ronald Reagan. Well, you've looked horrible longer, so I guess you win.
Tear down this wall.
Yeah, tear down this Mexican wall so I can get that boy's son. You want me to go down there and kidnap him? Bring him out of there? It's not kidnapping if it's your kid. It isn't my kid. I don't think he'll go with me in the first place. Dude, this is a hard movie.
Ronald Reagan in Cry Macho.
I'm sitting here saying how they suck. I'm a terrible actor. This is like I'm gonna blame the script. It's a terrible script. No,
Well, voice acting might not be your bag.
I know. This is not this script. Wait, here we go. Okay.
You're gonna keep going. You're not giving up. That's
You know
great.
what? You owe me, Mike. I was standing. Okay, this is stupid. You're right. I'm gonna close my computer. There's a reason. Yeah, forget this. And scene. Okay.
Wait. You know what you should Google?
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood, top Clint Eastwood quotes.
Okay, let's do that. And is there a way you could Google it and then we can go back and forth? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll Google it too.
Top. Oh wait. First I gotta open up Google. And then we'll start to wind this podcast down. By the way, guys, if you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube, please do me a huge favor and give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment box below the video or any of the videos, because that really helps the algorithm. The more people comment and like and share, it does help. Okay, here we go. Top Clint Eastwood quotes. Oh, here we go. All right. I'm going to go on this site. Here we go.
Okay, is it the Goodreads?
Yes. Okay, so you start.
Tomorrow is promised to no one.
There's a rebel lying deep in my soul. Anytime anybody tells me the trend is such and such, I go to the opposite direction. I hate the idea of trends. I hate imitation. I have a reverence for individuality.
They say all marriages are made in heaven, but so are thunder and lightning.
I'm interested in the fact that the less secure a man is, the more likely he is to have extreme prejudice.
I tried being reasonable. I didn't like it.
Let's not go and ruin it by thinking too much.
Respect your efforts. Respect yourself. Self-respect leads to self-discipline. When you have both firmly under your belt, that's real power.
Extremism is so easy. You've got your position and that's it. It doesn't take much thought. And when you go far enough to the right, you meet the same idiots coming around from the left.
I don't want to need you because I can't have you.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
First I blow a hole in your face. Then I go back inside and sleep like a baby. I guarantee you.
Wow, what was that from?
I think just his life.
No, I know. I don't even think these are from movies. I don't think they're from movies.
I think I forgot to read the first part of that quote. Dear diary.
Yeah, exactly.
First I blow a hole in your face. Then
yeah. I don't believe in pessimism. If something doesn't come up the way you want, forge ahead. If you think it's going to rain, it will.
Oh, this one's a whole monologue.
Yeah, I got an idea. Let's read it at the same time. I wanted to, like, almost like in, I pledge allegiance, how the whole class would do it. So
Okay.
Let's do it as a Clint Eastwood. And 3, 2, 1. Maybe I'm getting to the age when I'm starting to be senile and nostalgic, or both. But people are so angry now.
You used to be able to
disagree with people and still be friends.
Now
you hear these talk shows
and
everyone who believes differently from you is a moron and an idiot, both on the right and the left. Oh, we got to do this one together. 3, 2, 1. Do you feel lucky, punk?
And that isn't even the quote.
Oh, it's not?
The way he says it in the movie is, and now you got to ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
I know. I was reading, that famous quote of, you dirty rat, you dirty rat. He never actually says, you dirty rat. It's something
right.
similar to that, but it's like, you dirty...
It's the same with Casablanca, the play it again, Sam. He never said that shit.
Oh, wow. Not even close?
No, he says, play as time goes by, and the piano guy knows that it's going to trigger a lot of bad emotions for him, and goes, oh, I don't want to play that song, boss. And he's like, you played it for her, you'll play it for me. Now play it.
Oh, wow. And so people just would interesting. Well, Mike, it was great having you on the show, man. That was so cool. We did a little recap, something I've been wanting to do for a while.
Oh, I wanted to tell you, Scott, before we go, it's not important, but it's really funny to me.
Yeah.
You could hear my voice. I've sound like Clint Eastwood all the time right now because I've been having sick throat stuff,
Yeah.
And so I took some NyQuil last night just to kind of help clear it up. And I don't take NyQuil very often, and it always gives me weird dreams. But I had stayed up a little late and woke up a little early. And so I'm going on about 6.5 hours sleep, something like that.
Yeah.
But I knew I had this in the morning and I was having anxiety. I was like, oh, am I going to be awake for all that, blah, blah, blah. So I had this weird dream that you called me earlier and you were like, I got to move the podcast around. I was like, well, when do you want to do it? And you were like, oh, whenever is fine. Yeah, but what time so I can set my alarm and go back to sleep? And you're like, oh, whenever is convenient. And I'm like, yeah, but when? And I'm like, I can do whenever. Just let me know when. And you were like, well, we could do earlier, we could do later. It's not a big deal. And I was like, just tell me when, Darren. God damn it. I just want to go back to sleep. And you were like, oh, whatever. And I was like, screw this. And I just hung up. And then 5 seconds later, my alarm goes off to wake me up. Oh. And so I woke up and I was still mad. I was like, did that happen or did that not happen?
I ruined your sleep, man. That damn NyQuil dream. Yeah.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you. It was me. Oh, but I forgot a very interesting part in this is that for some reason, Kurt Russell was in the room with me, the actor.
Yeah.
And I hang up and I go, you believe that shit? And Kurt Russell just looks at me like, eh.
He won't give me a specific time for this podcast, so I'm going to have an uneasy rest.
Yeah. And he just looked at me like, you get over it.
Get over it, dude. Yeah. That's hilarious, man. Yeah, that's the kind of sleep I have when I know I have to fly somewhere because you don't want to oversleep.
Oh, right.
And you're like, you got all the alarms set, and you're like, oh, man.
Yeah, I was like, I have to remember this dream to tell Darren because, how you forget him.
Yeah. I know. Mike, it was great, man, and it's great seeing you back at the, back at the clubs again.
Yeah, I'm at the Comedy Store tonight. I don't know if this comes out today, but I'll be there tonight.
That's cool. I'm doing a main room spot Thursday, and I haven't done the main room in a while, so I'm excited.
Wow, congratulations, man!
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's a big deal, right? Like it's
for
pretty
comedians.
Cool.
That's a very, very big deal.
I know. It's funny because this business is like up and down. I come out of the movie. You know how that is. You come out of the movie theater and you get like notifications and text messages and stuff. And one was, sorry, buddy, we got to postpone the Sunday show. They want to mix things up. I'm also do a show on Sunday, a local show at a club that will rename nameless. And I'm like, And then the next message was, hey, are you available, to do this room? And it was a good thing. It was something, in December. And then the third one I looked down, it was a main room Comedy Store. And I'm like, yes, perfect.
That's awesome.
And you just got to roll with the punches and realize there's going to be.
Yeah, you guys, if you haven't been to a main room show, you got to go check Darren out.
That's going to be awesome. But Mike, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon. And let's do another one of these. Thank you, man. You're just a real treat to have on. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. That was Mike Black. Again, guys, if you like this podcast, do us a favor and leave a review anywhere. Comment on iTunes, Spotify if they do reviews. I don't even know. Go on YouTube and just leave some comments and share and just get involved and let me know what you think in the comments on YouTube. We love it. And if you want to hire me for a celebrity shout out, I will do it on cameo.com/official Darren Carter. If you want to donate, like buy me a cup of coffee, I'm on PayPal, I'm on Venmo, I'm on Cash App. On Cash App, it's $ Darren Carter Comic, PayPal, DarrenCarter.com, and Venmo, it's at Darren Carter Comic. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for spending another day or night with us listening to the Pocket Party Podcast. All right, have a great rest of your day. And as my boxing coach would say, all right, now, don't hurt nobody. Don't hurt nobody. And then when I leave the gym, be careful. Be careful. Don't hurt nobody, including yourself. Now let's do a virtual high five. Start that party in your life. All right, see ya.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to The Pocket Party.